All right, I'm going to do a video response here to EDC, Think Practical, Not Tactical by Red October. He made some good points in there. Really, the thing that he's talking about predominantly there is what you might have on you for getting home from work if there was something like an EMP attack, especially if you lived at distance. He talked about being 50 to 75 miles one way going to work. And right off the bat, man, you know, if I had that kind of substantial daily commute, I would think very, very hard about having either a bike in a bike rack or a folding bike in my trunk or something like that. You know what I mean? With saddlebags and hydration and all that stuff. Because that, you know, that's a long, long walk, right? That's a long, long walk. You know, I would want to try and be able to get home within a 24-hour period, if at all possible, right? And so that distance versus that amount of time, man, that's a really hard push. So just as an opening salvo, something that I thought of immediately, you know, if I had to travel that distance to get home, I would find some kind of way to expedite my return. And right off the bat, either a bike on a rack on my truck or in a roof rack or a folding bike in my trunk, that would be my very, very first response. But if you're closer in, let's say 20 miles or less, 20 miles is a good long way. And if you haven't walked 20 miles, I can attest that, you know, it's not something you're just going to be able to wake up and do. I would encourage people, and it's like I have walked, but I only have to walk like 3.5, 4 miles to where I work. And my wife has to walk 100 feet or something. I've walked that route, and I go a bunch of different ways, and so I don't have very far to go. And because of that, I'm blessed. I'm very, very fortunate. But 20 miles or less, you know, that's a hard push, but still something that you can get done in 24 hours without killing yourself, right? Red October made some points about, you know, not being tactical crazy. Man, I agree with that. I'm all about travel light and freeze at night. You know what I mean? You don't need 957,000 tons of bullshit trying to make your way home. You don't. You're doing yourself a disservice. I would encourage you all to, you know, develop some skill sets. You know, learn about poncho shelters. You know, just taking like a small tarp or one of the military ponchos and using bungee cords to affix the four corners, and you have a little bit of shelter right there. And, you know, you can stuff that into a tiny little pocket. You know, it's not a Four Seasons tent that'll survive a hurricane or an avalanche or a blizzard, but it will keep the rain off you, right? You know, and if you really want to, you could have 4 burley stakes to stake down the 4 corners, and then take 2 bungee cords and kind of make a little pup tent, 2 bungee cords in the middle to lift up the middle a little bit, and have yourself a little tent going on to shed the water. But they're easy breezy, and that takes care of the shelter, and you know, it doesn't take a lot of room, right? But again, you know, we're trying to get home within 24 hours, right? We're trying to get back as quickly as possible. So I just wanted to kind of talk about some things I generally have on me. Sometimes I have more of it, sometimes I have less of it. But right off the bat, always on me, right, I've got a compass. Always. It's just there. It's just there, right? My son is going down to Honduras, and so one of the things we bought for him is this little Tool Logic card. You know, it's got the compass, right? It's little bitty, man. This is go to hell stuff, right? This is, I'm just trying to figure out how to stay alive, right? It's got a magnifying glass, which is a fire starter. It has a toothpick and tweezers for some personal care stuff, right? You know, hold on a second. So this knife, any knife in a survival situation, man, is not about, a weapon. This is to make other tools. Predominantly, you want to be able to make like a fireboard, spindle, bow drill fire, cutting lashings or line, turning your clothes into line, tourniquet, those kinds of things. Fashioning tools, shelter, fire-hardened sticks, Paiute deadfalls. That's what these are about, right? So, and then you can tell, I think, my son got in there and used the flint bar that's right here, right? And I know I've done videos before showing fire bundles and how to make a fire from a flint and steel spark into a fire bundle. And this also has a little whistle, right? So you can signal, bang, you're at the bottom of a bunch of rubble. There's been an earthquake, landslide, whatever, avalanche. If you have the space to get this to you, you can signal rescue. All right. So, bang, this little nothing is in your wallet, and you have means of navigation, a couple of means of fire starting, a tool, a whistle. Okay. Easy breezy, man, and it's in your wallet. It's no big deal. I had somebody make this for me. This is a little survival kit, little metal tin held together, and inside is like, let's see if I can do this without exploding everything. Hold on one second. So, like safety pins. You can use this as temporary suturing. You can use this to hem up your clothes if they're falling apart. You can use this as a fish hook, right? We got a little P38 razor blade. We got a mirror in there for signaling. So it's all this stuff right here, right? Little bitty. Here's the P38, the can opener, right? Excellent stuff. There's a pencil in there, a little bit of fire tinder, some fishing hooks. Okay, so it's little bitty, but there's a lot of life-saving stuff in here, and it doesn't take up any room at all. So my wife actually carries this with her all the time in her purse, right? And it's got all kinds of stuff in there. But something like this, unless you practice what's in here, right? You're not going to magically know how to use it. So whatever you've got in here, spend some time to figure out how to use it, right? Again, the diver, she said you're trying to get home for 24 hours. Yeah, well, that is the objective, but Murphy will get you 100% of the time. So let's see, little tools like this guy. This is the Gerber Crucial, and it's got the little needle nose pliers, little wire snips, it's got knife, it's got screwdrivers, it's got some stuff, but it sits on your pocket like a pocket knife, man, but it's a tool, right? It's got all kinds of stuff going on there that you can use. I've got a variety of different lights. I usually carry this guy with me all the time, headlight. Not that I want to be bebopping down the road with the light on, but, if I have to signal, right? It's good for signaling. Again, if, I need help or something like that. It's not all about EMP tactical ninjistics, right? Sometimes, man, there's been a bad wreck. There's somebody down on the road, and you're trying to get people to stop, you know what I mean? Hey, stop, whatever. So anyway, I carry one of these. And I carry all kinds of first aid stuff. I've talked about that before. We've always got handcuff keys all over the place, just in case, right? An old Zippo, right? Of course, I've got my, all kinds of tricky-dicky, squirreled away knives here and there. This, unlike the knife in that card, this is a last-ditch weapon, right? This is there to create an opportunity to do lethal harm in an attempt to escape or transition to another firearm or whatever it is, right? And the thing that's cool about this, a lot of guys will have this laced up in their shoe or their boot, right? Something else, permanent marker. If I have to, two bodies, first floor or whatever. Again, it's not all about tactical ninjistics, man. It's just writing communications, right? This is a real cheap Energizer flashlight, really bright, Got a little clip to it, right? Easy breezy. Something else I always carry, I carry another compass in my bag, right? A little backpack. I got another compass just in case, right? You guys know what I carry in terms of weapons. Another multi-tool maybe. I'm not carrying all of this stuff all at once. These are variations of the theme, right? I will carry a couple different types of navigation on me. I'll carry a couple different lights on me. I'll carry medical. I'll carry marking, right? I like this guy too. This is real cheap little flashlight, light gear. It's got a little push button flashlight. It's not very bright really, but then it's got this red. And again, you know what I mean? If I'm signaling or having to get somebody to see me in the dark or whatever, right? It's not all about the end of the world, right? Sometimes you just need flipping help. One of the other things that I carry that will be helpful is some kind of coffee mug like this, right? The lid screws on and seals tight. So if I had to carry water in this, right, and just hook it to my belt or hook it to my bag or whatever, you know what I mean? I could carry myself a little bit of water in here in case I have to get into a place where I'm, you know, collecting as I go. I keep a Nalgene at my desk at work. So if I'm at work when something happens and I have to walk home, I've got that water there. If I'm in my car when something happens, I usually have a couple of gallons or at least a couple of bottles of water in my truck at any given time, right? Anyway, so this is kind of where I'm at. You have the ability to make tools, the ability to make shelter. If you had to, you could make deadfalls or snares or some other thing. To have the tools to do that. You know, you've got navigation on you. You've got the ability to carry water. Whatever your situation is, whatever your length of travel is, kind of dictates how much of this kind of stuff you're going to need. But for sure, man, I would be as light as possible. I would practice survival skills. Instead of being stuff-centric, I would be knowledge-centric. I would say, in terms of planning out with your wife, I would keep it simple, man. Hey, man, I'm going to work, and if something happens, I will meet you at home, period. Now, making sure that your wife or your significant other, right, or your husband knows the directions you go, you know, that's good. If you're in a wreck or something like that, a bad storm, something happens, and you don't make it to work, you don't make it home from work, it's not like an EMP or some crazy deal, but just something's happened to you, that's good for people to have some idea of what's your route. That's absolutely true, man. And like for me, I'm doing random anti-terrorist measures all the time. I never take the same route back to back. So people are going to have their hands full if I did crash or something. It's going to be tricky. So that's something I have to overcome, quite frankly. But in terms of, you know, what do we do if something were to happen? Because my wife works at home, basically my job is to just get home, one way or the other, get home. The kids, same deal, get home. You know, because if we start trying to find each other out in the space or, you know, link up here and there, you know, we're going to miss each other invariably and things are going to go awry. So everybody, just get home. The little ones, they walk at 3/4 of a mile back and forth all the time. And my second oldest son, he's a mile and a half or thereabouts. Yeah.
It's more like 4.
Yeah, it's probably more like 4, isn't it?
Yeah, couldn't come out of a quarter church.
Right. See? So he's like 4 miles away, which isn't, you know, it's all downhill. Easy day. Right? Anyway, you know, just get home. Just get home. Any which way you can, that's the deal. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of throw that into the mix. You know, again, based on your environment, you know, what's likely to kill you? Is it the water? Is it the cold? Is it the area you have to travel through, the environment in terms of criminality? You know what I mean? Do you have to cross over bridges, under tunnels. What is it you are going to face? And then whatever you bring in your little bug out bag, okay, this is a military style bag, but it's little bitty, you know what I mean? It has the ability to have a concealed weapon in the pocket here. There's a concealed weapons pocket. This is another one of my little lights that I carry. It allows me to see in my bag, when I have to. It has the ability to carry a hydration. But it's a little bitty. It's tied into my body. It's, it doesn't carry a huge amount of stuff. I don't want it to, right? I want it to carry just what I have to get home, right? That's what I would encourage you guys to do, just like Red October talked about in his video. Look at the actuality of your situation and plan for it, right? Not what I've told you, what somebody else tells you. Look at your situation and plan for it. Keep it stupid simple. Don't get hut crazy with the military stuff. And generally speaking, it's not going to be the military guys that are trying to go hut. We're the opposite, at least from my experience. I'm going to try and be in flip-flops and with Bermuda shorts on and some crazy, Hawaiian shirt. I don't want to be all tactical, man. I don't, and I think a lot of that's in the same way, man. I want to get home. I want to be comfortable. I want to be, warm, safe, and dry, and I'm going to do that. That's what I want to do. I don't want to look like I'm super cool, and I'm concerned that a lot of non-military guys will see all the cool guy kit and we call it shiny kit syndrome. Look at that, ooh, the cool, and then they want to get that and fill those bags up. And the bigger the bag you got, the more stuff it takes, the heavier it gets. It's a vicious cycle. Keep it easy, keep it kiss. Just hey man, I'm just some dude trying to make it home, man. I ain't nothing. And I might be armed to the teeth. You know what I mean? We didn't even get into that. Right? But I'm not here to get into gunfights and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm just trying to go home. Right? Anyway, look at your actual situation and plan for it. Keep it simple. Keep it light. Keep it real. All right, that's enough. Thanks for watching. Be safe. Watch your six. And bye for now.